The BBC Proms. David Pickard is the guy who was the director of the BBC Proms when he decided. There he is. He's the guy who decided. He
looks like a barrel of laughs.
Yeah, doesn't he just? He's the guy who decided that they should not play Rule Britannia or Land of Hope and Glory on the last night of the Proms. He's resigning after 9 years. Go away. Good news. And what a ridiculous thing that was, to decide that at the last night of the Proms you can't sing this patriotic song, Land of Hope and Glory or Rule Britannia. That's the BBC for you. They got embarrassed into actually climbing down on that, and there was a rendition of Land of Hope and Glory, but it was much curtailed. So this guy is going. maybe now that Mr. Pickard has gone, we can actually sing Land of Hope and Glory on the last night of the Proms. What is going on at this ridiculous state broadcast? Absolutely ridiculous.
I love the fact that when you get really impassioned, you point at the paper,
find
his name and draw a circle.
They're a law unto themselves. People are always complaining about my arms. I just say it's got nothing to do with me.
I'm the one often
Talk to the arms.
I'm often downwind having to dodge them. Whoa. I mean, good riddance. I've got nothing to add to that, Kevin. That was so brilliant that actually I think that a rendition of that should be played at last night of the Proms.
Land of Hope and Glory. I don't know any of the rest of the lyrics.
Oh, what a patriot you are.
Yeah, I'm not. What is the next line?
Mother of the free.
There you go. Well done. Well done.
That was almost in tune.
Nice voice.
Thank you. I was just surprised that came out half decent.
I, on the other hand,
now, talking about Land of Hope and Glory and Mother of the Free and all the rest of it, and Rule Britannia.
Falkland Islands.
Falklands.
This is we remember the Falklands War, the Malvinas, as the Argentinians call them. Falklands to us, the Falkland Islands islanders, a handful of them who live on that faraway island near South America. They're British. They're British passport holders, and they want to stay British. But the new Argentinian weird president, Javier Milei, has vowed to reclaim the territory and said getting the Falklands back, the Malvinas back, there he is, was non-negotiable. Good luck with that, mate.
There he is. He looks like he's looking for his missing band members in his 70s rock tribute act, doesn't he? Yeah. But I mean, what's interesting about this, and what I'm kind of really relishing in our sort of tribalised society with the drop-down menu of ideologies is when this geezer, who's definitely a bit batty, got elected in Argentina. Everyone on the right, the usuals, but you know, I'm usually part of the usuals, but everyone on the right's like, hey, one of ours, Argentinian Trump, and everyone on the left is like, oh, isn't he gross and deplorable because he's got right-wing beliefs? Yeah. But interestingly, he's going to try and take it to the British over the Falklands, which is very much a right-wing thing, isn't it? Like, those are our islands, and they want to stay with us, and they have the freedom to stay with us and hands off our territory. Whereas the lefties are like, oh, we should give them back. Yeah. So which side are people going to fall down on? It's boggling.
I'll tell you what, Mr. Millet, why don't you try and take the Falklands back, see what happens.
Yeah, David Cameron will fly over and he'll tell you what for.
Because maybe we'll send a task force out there and teach you another lesson. Try that one for size. Now, I think that we should talk about... it's very good. Bristol Airport. Bristol, fine airport, if you live in Bristol. It is proudly unveiled its new multi-faith area. And it is boasted that this new...
That?
That's it.
That's not a bus stop, Kev.
I know, it's a bus stop. It says, this new area provides customers with a private space to reflect and pray whilst waiting to collect friends, family or loved ones. That's a bus stop.
Yeah, collect friends, family or loved ones off the National Express.
Multi-faith centre.
Not a multi-faith centre. What is it?
But they're proud of this. You know, they put it up on Twitter. Look, here's our new faith. It's rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
Gosh. I mean, to be honest, that is what a multi-faith centre should look like, in my opinion. You can just sit and have private thoughts, can't you?
Just had a double-decker next to it would sum up the picture.
I'm a churchgoer, and I don't need to go and hang out in that bus stop to have a little prayer if I wanted one inside my own head. Well, but what is that? I mean,
it's a multi-faith centre.
You know, this is the airport. I don't know how much they charge for car parking. I'm guessing it's probably £100,000 a second for minutes to go through a barrier.
You're
right. And that's all they could afford, that thing.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But it's this virtue signalling thing of saying, look, it's a marvel. Look, we've got a multi-faith centre. It's a bus stop. Not a very nice bus stop either.
There are no words for that.
And I bet you no one ever uses it. It's actually by a roundabout.
It's going to become a secret smoking shelter, isn't it? Everyone's going to be there with their vapes and their fags. That's what that's going to become.
It's a that little bus shelter there, again, according to Bristol Airport, is dedicated to the worship of God. It's not exactly St Paul's Cathedral, is it?
They'll be running riots on who's God, you know, the battle of the bus stop. Everyone like, my God knows my God.
Right,
they're talking
time
about
for
God.
your friend.
My God.
Yeah, your God. Talking to her God, Nigel Farage. He stars in the current series of I'm a Celeb. What's happened to him now?
God. Do you know what? Before I sort of I pray for Alex, can I just say, but because my old boss and
at
really
the
good mate
Centre,
at the Multi-Faith Centre, because my old boss and really good mate is in the jungle, I've become this sort of like a Farage correspondent.
Yes,
and all
you
of
have,
this.
yeah.
So I'm duty bound to watch that programme every night, and honestly, it's becoming onerous now. I go home and I'm like, oh no, do I have to listen to Ant and Dec and see these two-bit weirdo celebrities preening? But, you know, I do it, and I do it for you, dear viewers, and for him, so he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
So what went on last
night? I
night?
used to have to.
I don't know. He was in a bathtub. Is it, Kev, you tell me this, because you used to be like, you know, showbiz TV, everything fancy entertainment correspondent. Yeah. That I think that unless Nigel's suddenly become a naturist overnight, which I don't think he has, but you never know. People go funny in the jungle. Yeah. They seem to be deliberately editing, because you've got 24 hours of footage, right, to make 1 hour of TVD. They're deliberately editing it for maximum Farage backside footage.
Yeah, but you see, welcome to the party. I mean, this is what they do. They edit. That's the way that the producers organise who wins, who comes second, by very careful editing. And, you know, there are things in life that I could probably live without, and one would be seeing Nigel Farage's bare backside. But, of course, they do that. That won't do him any harm. But what will do him harm is the way they edit the conversations. Let's have a little listen, if we can, and a watch of Nigel Farage and someone called Nella Rose arguing over migration.
Apparently you're anti-immigrants.
Who told you that?
Oh, the internet.
Well, there we are, then. It must be true. It must be true.
It must be.
It must be true.
OK, but then why don't black people like you?
You'd be amazed they do.
Well,
You'd be amazed.
Nigel!
If you came with me...
Nigel!
If you came with me through South London, you'd be astonished.
Oh, wow. What were you doing in South London, Nigel?
Well, I'm there every day.
I mean, do you know, this is the sort of stuff that actually helps Nigel, isn't it, at the end of the day, because people don't like her and they like him.
Yeah, you're right, that's a very good point.
He's had to go through this his whole political career, and he knows it's useful to him. But, I mean, what is astonishing here is, yet again, you just see in society, it's one rule for one and another rule for the other. And wasn't it on the front page of a newspaper today that the only person left in society who you're allowed to attack and abuse is basically Nigel Farage, isn't it? That's it.
He's
the only one.
Yeah, everybody can attack Nigel Farage.
Including two-bit presenters on other channels.
Everybody's favourite hate figure. But the problem with that is a lot of people actually really like Nigel Farage. And I suspect his political career is still on the up.
But it seems to me now they're also sort of massaging things to make sure he doesn't win,
he's not going to win.
For the challenges.
They won't want him to win.
They don't, he's not doing challenges anymore, and you can see a sort of look of disappointment in his face. He kind of wants to get
Well, he might get voted in for another, but that was a disappointment for the producers because they hoped that he'd do 6 or 7 tasks in a row, which the hate figures, the villains, usually do. But I think he's coming across as a nice, rather kind of restrained guy, to be honest with you, which will be disappointing to the producers. Talking about everybody's favourite hate figure, Susanna Reed, she's on some other channel, ITV, I believe. She, on Good Morning Britain, slammed Nigel Farage, branding him desperate in a shock rant. Take up the story.
Yeah, well, basically, you know, this is where clearly the producers of I'm in a jungle and I don't want to be there did an interview with Nigel in that multi-faith bus shelter in the jungle. And he said, do you want to be Prime Minister? And asked those sorts of questions. And other people have asked him such. And he said what Nigel would always say, which is, well, let's see. I mean, Nigel doesn't necessarily think he stands a hope of hell in getting there. I think it isn't a job he really wants. Who does? Apart from if you're a sort of weirdo, it doesn't look like much fun being PM.
But there's Susanna Reed.
And Susanna Reed,
she's a nice woman, but she's just climbing on board a bandwagon here. So she goes, oh, you know, Nigel Farage addressed the rumours he may at some stage be elected leader of the Conservative Party. He wasn't quick to rule it out. Honestly, Nigel, don't be so disingenuous. You're desperate to stand for Prime Minister. I don't believe
also,
he is, actually.
It goes to show that Susanna Reid don't have a lot between her ears, does she? She doesn't get politics. Is he going to become the leader of the Conservative Party? Yeah. No, because he's the president of Reform. That's his party, not the Conservative Party, Susanna. doesn't work like that. Probably have
that's
to be a
true,
member
that's
and
true.
elected to it to become their leader. And then also, do you want to stand for Prime Minister? You don't stand for Prime Minister. You become elected as the leader of a party by that party. And then if your party wins the election, you become Prime Minister. That's why it's a Prime Minister and not a president, you airhead.
And here's an idea for Susanna. If you're so annoyed about Nigel Farage appearing in I'm a Celebrity, why don't you quit ITV? Because they're the ones who hired him. So how about that?
And also read a book on politics while you're at it if you're going to present television and pretend you know about the world.
We're going to do Napoleon. Napoleon, this is my favourite story. We'll be revisiting this story this afternoon on Crosstalk towards the end of the show, I can reveal. Basically, there's a big movie out by Ridley Scott, the Napoleon. It's got mixed reviews, shall we say, but it focuses very much on this extraordinary relationship between Napoleon and Josephine, his wife, his lover, his mistress. It's all about her sexual allure. Was supposed to be so incredible that it was the talk of France. When Napoleon met this amazing woman, he was, I believe, a virgin, certainly sexually unexperienced, and she taught him things you would not believe.
Right, I mean, sex sells, doesn't it, throughout the ages, whether you're Helen of Troy and, 3,000-odd years later, you're still of myth and legend, or this Josephine character. It's a really good ruse, actually, to get everyone to watch the film to find out what the zigzag technique is.
Yeah, she had a technique called zigzag. We're not going into the details. We've been trying to find out. Ever since I read this the other day, I said, what the hell is this zigzag
That's
technique?
all he wants to know.
And I think a lot of people are asking the same question, but this is a family show. But really an incredible love story.
Incredible love story. Incredible legacy, I would say. Imagine being known for that. Poor Josephine, she may be dead, but at least in life she gave good feelings to all the people that she met and brought lots of happiness to the world.
That's a good poem.
I know.
It doesn't rhyme.
Well, if I worked hard at that, I could probably make it rhyme, but it's a bit early in the morning, isn't it, to, work on my verse.
Yes, and do you know that she came from the Caribbean and her family profited from the slave trade, so...
Oh, gosh.
Cancel this film.
Cancel Josephine. Don't watch it. I mean, what on earth are they doing? Even daring to, make this woman a mythical legend. There's too many words on this sheet that I can't say this time. I'm going to do my Kevin
we're not going into the details, but we will discuss later. We're going to get a historian on to discuss. It is the big story, of Napoleon's extraordinary life. Was this all-consuming, passionate love he had for Josephine. They divorced. He never got over that. This was the woman of his life.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a film, actually. There's not been many films on recently that I'd want to see, but this one I do, because the one thing we love about Napoleon is there's many little French would-be rulers of the world that appear on the British coastline. We always beat them, don't we? So let that be a lesson to you, Macron. I'm going to sit there with my bag of popcorn.
You know what they say about Napoleon? The ultimate example of short male syndrome.
That's very true. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you now, Kev?
Certainly not. I'm pretty damn tall. Well, not that tall, but I'm not as short as Napoleon. Yeah. I'm respectably tall.
You are.